Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akul Mac Technologies, and welcome to Top Brass. And today, let me welcome my friend from UK, Mr. Naval Goon.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. We're now moving into the last quarter of the year. Well, almost. We're moving. September's not too far away. The summer's going. Kids are going back to school, or not, as the case may be. And I thought that was. It's interesting. We've seen a lot of educational establishments being forced to go online. They've been driven online, but they've got a captive audience, their own students that would normally see the same teachers in the same classroom with their same friends, but now they've all gone online. What have you noticed about some of these educational groups that have gone online, CK? Are they doing anything different, or are they just throwing it all online?
So, in order to answer your question, I need to inform you a little bit history about Indian education system,
Yep.
so that you can have some perspective. In the government-run schools, public schools, the teachers are given standard training. I mean, for last 60, 70 years of independent history of India, the teachers were trained in certain way. They had a standard curriculum, and if the parent is moving from one city to other city, the admission in other school will be seamless, and a student can join midterm. So they don't have to wait for a term to finish. They can join midterm. And the advantage in that model was that the teachers are standard, teaching style is standard, books are standard. Only thing change is the faces and the names of the mates. So that was the government system which was running in India. And the private schools were also having pretty much the same infrastructure, except there are a few changes there. Say, for example, if some school says, hey, I'm Oxford affiliate, so the Oxford will say that, hey, you need to follow my teaching methodology. You need to follow whatever I do, discipline and all that. So if a school in India, which is private and an Oxford affiliate, will have to follow the Oxford standard. So this was going on before COVID. The students were studying in a very set environment. The parents are very well aware that the teachers are well trained in whatever school standard they have chosen. I mean, they are paying the fee, parents are paying the fee, and based on their appetite, they can choose the school as per their appetite. So, so they were confident that, if my kid is going to this school, they're following this standard. If they're going to a lower kindergarten, is following Montessori, and so on and so forth. And if he's going to a government school, he's following this standard. But now the online study has changed all that, because the students need not go to a brick and mortar building for study. So if they are online, it doesn't matter really from where the teacher is coming and who are his mates, because they can come from anywhere. So that is the psychological angle that the students have to go through. And the practical side, especially I'm talking with Indian context, that I'm sure that time is very close now when the teachers will find it tough to talk to the students, because students will now start choosing things. So their standard way of teaching will not work, because the students are now getting exposed to multiple things online.
You're absolutely right. And the interesting thing is, you mentioned students will choose. Well, students are not stupid either. They will choose the best teachers. They will choose people that they feel comfortable with, that push them. And by the way, when we talk about students, we're also talking about parents, because parents have a big say in this. Why? Because their students are their precious gift. They are priceless. They're born to them. Great parents take that as a huge responsibility, and they want to help their young man or woman, develop in the best way. And that means giving them some latitude, letting them take a few risks. And this is where I think not just the education arena, but all coaches, all mentors, all training companies out there now need to smell the roses. Wake up, last year's white roses are this year's red roses. It's the same bed where these roses are being cultivated, but things have changed. They've changed really fundamentally. The good old days of reading a book, a technical book. I'm a mathematician. I used to love reading books about Archimedes and all these other people and where these principles had come from. Those days are still there. The books are still there, but actually the way we're learning is changing. And we, as advisors, as coaches, we need to be saying the right thing to these other coaches, these other mentors, teachers, trainers out there, think of what your audience is looking for. They want to be entertained. We all know that when you have fun in a classroom, you learn by laughing. Now that's what goes on in this wonderful thing we have here, the most important computer of your life, really. And when we're having fun, when the teacher is really engaging us, we're all personally engaged. So we don't need to be in the classroom because we're all in our own little world thinking of what the teacher's saying to us. Now, some teachers in the education arena know that, and they've captured that, and they've done their own learning courses, training of online delivery. So typically they'll be in the classroom, they stand up at the front, there's 30 kids in front of them, but they know they're talking to each and every one of them. So they've developed their online presence in exactly the same way, not delivering the same way, but delivering to the person in the same way. So they're feeling what's being said. Now, this is an art. It takes practice. It takes a lot of focus from the person delivering the subject. And let me tell all you listening out there, an hour on a digital platform delivering a subject to 30 students is far more draining than delivering an hour in a classroom. Much more draining than delivering an hour in a classroom. And if you don't think it is, then you're not doing it right. So you need to be more resilient. The preparation needs to be much better. And of course, you're in the digital arena, you've got this digital platform, and you're going to say, put your questions in the chat box. No longer can you see, little Ahmed or little Chandra at the back putting their hand up and saying, I've got a question. That doesn't work because you've only got a little screen here, You can't quite see that. So you put the question in the chat box. That means you've got something else you need to focus on. So there's a chat box that comes up there. And you want people to give comments on that because that's feedback. Great presenters, great teachers, great leaders thrive on feedback. And even if someone isn't saying anything, and like you, they're nodding, and I can see the nod and the smile, and there's only one person on the screen here apart from me, it's you, that's massive feedback because I can see that you're thinking, you're listening. Now, this is what they call active listening. So never before have we had this opportunity in the coaching arena, in the mentoring arena, in the teaching and training arena, where we can see active listening. You know, if you've got 60 people on the screen, it's not that easy. But again, if you get good at it and you look from a distance and you scan it often enough, you can see who's actively listening, who's taking it in. And this is the art of the new era. In many respects, nothing's changed. These people are still the same people. They still want to learn. They're there for a reason, and it's up to you to engage them. Once you do that, it's brilliant because they then challenge you. Is this making sense?
Well, I've seen a couple of teachers giving the delivery, and I think what you're saying is really, really very important, and it makes a lot of sense. To answer your question, last question was it makes a lot of sense because um, what I've seen the smart teachers would do is they would go to each and every student and they will say, "Hey, I'm calling, and you have any issue?" And the student says, "No, I don't have any issue," and then they move out to the next one. And that is why the digital arena of training is so difficult, because you cannot allow everyone to switch on their mics when they are talking, because there will be clutter in the class. So you need to declutter, and you have to request all the students to switch off the mics, keep the camera on, so that the teacher can have a feedback. As you said, he or she is able to see the students, each one is doing what, 30 guys, and then pick the student and talk to that student individually. So it's slightly different than a classroom, because you can raise your hand and you can ask a question with all everybody can hear. But in this arena right now, either you need to develop a totally new platform which can allow an exact replication of the classroom, or a teacher has a lot of responsibility on their shoulders to talk to each and every student one after the other. There is no sufficient time for doing that.
Well, you see, the interesting thing is, it is a different way of teaching today. We have to accept that. And therefore, we have to acknowledge that we need to change the way we do things. So no longer, frankly, should we be thinking of the school day as 6 hours made up of 50-minute chunks, where the kids, this is secondary school in typical, there's 50-minute chunks, and the 10-minute gap is to allow you to pack up your books into your bag and move on to the next classroom. That was the 10-minute gap. Well, we don't have to move classrooms anymore, do we? We're actually physically sitting in there. But I've seen some teachers literally not have a break. They say, right, we're going to have a 2-minute comfort break. Well, I don't know about you, but 2 minutes isn't enough. It's just not enough, is it? I mean, to go and have that comfort break. I mean, I always have a glass of water with me, whether I'm sitting down thinking or I'm on the screen talking. I've always got that. I know you have always got that. We're disciplined enough to know how many glasses of water we drink per day. We don't actually, the majority of people don't realize, actually, when you're really looking at this sort of stuff, how hard it is, how difficult it is to keep the concentration there. So again, we've got to change our delivery. It's bite-sized chunks time. I'll let you into a couple of arenas, and I found this out when I was very young, actually. One of my teachers, and it wasn't all of my teachers, but one of my teachers would make a point at the end of every lesson, or at the beginning of the next lesson, or even halfway through the lesson, was to pick on somebody and ask a question. And typically, they were asking the same question in slightly different way. And the question was basically, where are we? What have you learned today? Where are we on the plan of what I've said we're going to be doing? And because this teacher was pretty smart, and wanted everyone to contribute. Even the most shy individual contributed. And what I didn't know, because I was a bit gobby when I was quite young, you know, you had to stop me talking, you know. Chronic, I think on one report I had from my English teacher said Neville suffers from chronic loquacity, which for the people that don't understand the English language too well, it means I had verbal diarrhea. In other words, I couldn't shut up. It was English and I didn't really like the subject, so I probably used to chat a lot, face it effectively. But that particular teacher would take the shy person aside. I didn't know this until sometime after, but they would make time when no one else was there. They'd take that person to side and they would say, tomorrow, when we get halfway through or at the beginning, I want you to tell me where you are, where we are in the discussion. So go away and prepare for it and be ready. You know, don't worry about it. Everyone has this. And what that meant was this shy individual had preparation time. And guess what? When they were asked the question, they knew exactly where we were. And we all sort of looked around and thought, blimey, where did that come from? Normally, they're so quiet there. You can't, they're like mice, you can't hear them. They're just sort of walking in the distance and you just can't hear what's going on. But that was great teaching. You know, so you can take time. Go ahead, sorry.
So the challenge now really is the teachers are getting into a new arena, and whichever platform they use is something that they can choose, whichever they have in their mind. But the whole point is that a lot of teachers are now coming out with their online study material, and the key here is that the customer is the student, and he can choose. So that is where the challenge is. So like you're describing the smart teachers, in today's arena, the smart teacher job is very, very tough because they have to find where the students are, who will like them, and even if they don't like the teaching style, how do I get the feedback so that I can change a little bit, I can address each and every student. So I think that challenge is that not really putting your content online and then thinking somebody will join for $10 a month or for free. I think there are a lot of free courses every day I'm seeing online on Facebook or LinkedIn. Hey, come and join this course. It's free. So even for free, people are not joining. So that is a dilemma today.
Well, years ago, when I joined the real world, you know, my corporate life, we never used to have to worry about marketing the product. It was oil and gas, you know. It wasn't free. Everyone paid for it differently around the world, but you didn't have to sell it. Okay, it was a commodity that was publicly traded around the world. So not only did you didn't have to sell it, but you couldn't manage the price either. You know, the price was managed by supply and demand. But where I'm going to here is when I joined the real world. Okay, when you look at an advert on a TV, 20 odd years ago, there were three things that would sell something to you. Free. If it's free, you're interested. It sparks these, something for nothing, you know, fantastic, you know. Chocolate. You look at the adverts going back many years ago, you know, Fry's Turkish Delight. You see all these, you know, wonderful, beautiful people with eating this Fry's chocolate, you know. We'll get royalties for that, by the way, if we pass this one out. But chocolate was something that everybody, the majority of people, loved. And the other thing was sex. Those three things free chocolate and sex. And if you put those into your advertisement, and Formula One did it, you know, almost nothing on these women over these big Formula One cars. And if you went to some vehicle exhibitions, 20 odd years ago, there would be two things: beautiful cars and beautiful women. Why? Because that was the sex element, and we can't get away from it. I mean, that was a fact of life. And we're all attracted to it, we're all attracted to other people. So those three things were evident all the time. Today, free, it just misses everybody because there's so much that's free. And equally, you and I have probably seen lots of things that have been so-called free, and we've watched it for 10 seconds and thought, what a waste of time that was. Mm-hmm. So now a lot of people are associating free, waste of time, free, waste of time. And what happens is it flips. Waste of time seeing anything that's free. But you have to experience it. So it's only those novices that haven't had anything free before. They say, oh, look, this TED Talk, it's free. There's this other TED Talk, it's free. There's another one, it's free. There's this webinar, it's free. And after a while, it doesn't take very long, by the way, free gets very, very boring because you're not learning anything. It's not of any value. And this is the key today. It needs to be value. Now, there are millions of people out there that have got lots of value to offer. However, it's the person that's listening that needs to see the value. We all talk about the proposition statement, the value statement of SMEs. Communicate your value. And yeah, you're going to use the word free because you want to hook them. But you need to communicate the value. People need to believe that you are the person for them. You've got the product for them. And the digital world has opened that up far, far faster than anything else. And COVID has accelerated that integration because it's what goes on up here all the time in individuals. Teachers, in some respects, don't have to sell because they've got, they're in a school, in a building, they're employed by the organisation, and the kids come from the local area. They don't have to sell. However, in later life, we can all think back, who were the real teachers that made an impact on my life? Who were the ones that I admired, I respected, I held in high esteem, I loved? Let's put it down to basics. Which teacher really helped me? And you'll find that the teachers that really helped you were entertaining, they were engaging, and they made you feel that you were important. It's not difficult, actually. It's not difficult to understand what you need to do. It's difficult to deliver it. But once you practice delivery, you get good at it. And then you can get feedback, and then you can get better at it. So this is not a difficult issue to get over, but you've got to start the journey in the right way. It's not what you're saying, it's what they're receiving. How many times have we said that before?
Absolutely, Neville. I think the key message that you are giving to our viewers today is that the teachers have to improve their content, and there is a relay race going on the net. If one guy is offering free, the other 100 guys are offering free. I think the teachers, smart ones really, have to get this message, get out of this rut of free education, because there is nothing called free education. And I think the third element is, I think they need support in terms of sales and marketing concepts. So they have to find who's a consultant who can help them sell them their courses better, sell their teaching style better, position it correctly. I think these are certain tips that we have got as a listener and listening to you, I think these are the summarization of our conversation today.
Brilliant. I mean, to all those out there, all those teachers out there, come and talk to us. We want to help you. You know, you've got the most important and the most difficult job out there, educating young people in the right way forward and build all of those separate values that are not going to be learnt in the classroom. They're not going to learn respect anymore. There's a different type of respect you need to develop on a web chat like this. And we'll give you feedback. We'll give you honest feedback, not publicly, don't have to be publicly, but I think what we perhaps should do, CK, is run a round table just for these teachers, just for the more progressive teachers that want to really be good at their profession in this new world of digital. Because it's not easy, you know. It does take an awful lot of practice, and it's wearing. You know, you need to make sure your batteries are recharged to the highest level, even more than previously. So yeah, I mean, this is a fascinating subject, and of course, the knock-on effect is for small businesses. You know, coaches, mentors, trainers. You've got the same issue. It's not what you're saying or how you're saying it, but it's who you're saying it to. What do they want to hear? How do they want to see it? And yeah, they're going to want stuff for free, but it's what you give them that has value. That's the phrase of the day. Give them value.
Give them value and demand the value for yourself. Don't give your value. Don't undervalue yourself and offer something for free. And
Absolutely.
For that, the email address, our email address will be mentioned at the end of the video. If teachers who are listening out there, this is something that we can do for you, please write to us and we will include you in the next roundtable for teachers. So Neville,
I think that'll be an excellent way forward. And by the way, that will be free for you teachers, by the way, you know. There won't be a cost to you. You're already doing a really difficult job. What we want to do is help you make it easier and spread the word. Nice speaking with you, CK.
Same, likewise here, Neville, and you have a nice day. By the way, it's raining here also since morning. It's very, Seattle type environment.
Oh, wow.
Very gloomy.
Very gloomy. Well, the only thing is we've got gloomy is the news. So I tend not to listen to the news anymore. There is no happy news. There's no good news. Everything's gloomy, you know. Hey ho. Hopefully our sessions are not that gloomy.
Not at all, not at all. So I will catch up with you tomorrow again on some other subject.
Will do. Cheerio, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.